Whoa. Oh, my phone is up. Hello, shed and steel building family. Oh, my back. Let me look more official. Let me get a pen and a marker. And come on, really, I don't have a pen. Hang on. All right, now we're more official. All right, today we're coming to you live, not really live, but coming to you from inside the office, not outside like usual. And we're going to talk about a scandalous topic in the shed industry. And that is the lease to own program. So, if you haven't already noticed, as soon as sheds became portable, lease to own became popular. The main reason why is because they now have a way to repossess a unit. If you don't make your payments, you get behind, things of that nature. And anytime you can do any kind of lease to own, in the car world, sometimes they do lease to own, but normally it's just high risk lending. Anytime, sharks smell blood, they're in the water. So, one thing you should know about the lease to own is that normally the shed dealers themselves don't have anything to do with the lease to own program. There will be a company they offer and provide simply because you have to have that as one of your options, or you could lose quite a bit of business. It is pretty standard across the board in terms of lease to own, but it's a disadvantage to not have that available to the consumer. The biggest thing I've seen with lease to own over time is a misunderstanding of how it works. So there are a couple different ways that the lease to own could work. Sometimes you do a contractual period of 24, 36, 48, 60 months. Sometimes within that contractual period, it will reset every month. Let's say maybe month to month you could be. Number two would be that they could just do month to month only on the lease to own, and that gives them the right basically to renew the contract or not renew the contract to get the building back. Now with the lease to own, here's the thing, and we explain this in full here. That's one thing we always do. We're very transparent, and sometimes people have gotten upset about it, but that's why we tell them ahead of time. And again, we don't have anything to do with it. But the number one thing with the lease to own is they're not checking your credit. They don't verify your income. They don't verify your references if you give any. They don't verify your employment. So there's a lot of risk to the leasing company within that program. So there also has to be a lot of reward to the leasing company within that program. So I don't agree with the terms of the lease to own. I 100%, to put it out there, I don't agree with the terms of the lease to own, but I also don't agree with the people who assume they're going to get the shed for the cash price and just make payments on it with no interest or no credit check. Even people right now with the way lending is, with the top of the line credit, can't get 0% on a personal loan. So number one, that's one thing. Sometimes your expectations are unrealistic, that you can come into a situation with no negotiating power, meaning that you don't have a way to purchase the item, and then you want to dictate the terms in which you buy it. And the reason why I think that happens is because the lease to own program is never explained. So maybe sometimes people think, hey, I can just make payments on this. So now we're getting in the nitty gritty, okay? So here is the way it works. And I wish I had like this big board I could write on. The leasing company takes a percentage of every payment you make as a lease fee. See that? See how I can do this? Oh, the lease fee? Yeah, it kind of is a lease fee. So what they do is when you make your monthly payment, they take a percentage of that, and the percentage they take is based upon the term you choose. They take a percentage of that payment to themselves. Okay, they put it in their pocket while they're on their yacht. I mean, I don't know, they're on their private jet. Who even knows? But they take a percentage of that payment, and the rest of it, they go off the principal. So, as the shed seller, we are paid for the unit in full by the leasing company. So we have no skin in the game. It has nothing to do with us. Whether you do lease to own or purchase outright, it's neither one is more beneficial to us. We get the same amount of money. But it is beneficial to the lease company if you were to fulfill your agreement. So let's start off with, hang on here, let's use a big marker. 24 months. Let's start off with a 24 months agreement. Is that the phone? Oh man, I'm right in the middle of this. I can't do it, but I hate to not service a customer. You have to, do I get the phone? I have to get it. Good morning, Just Wooden Steel. How can I help you? Oh, sure. On a steel building? I'm assuming it's Ohio somewhere. Ah, got you. Oh, yeah, we service Monroe. Yep. Okay. Okay. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. Our managing director who does all that stuff, I'm going to send you over to his line because he can give you an estimate right over the phone. And he's got the calculator right on his computer. So I will actually transfer you over to Brian, and then he'll be able to help you. Just 1 second. You're not getting that customer service anywhere else, people. 24 month. We'll start with that. That is a 2-year term. And this is the lease to own percentage. I hope you're sitting down. Okay, nobody tells you this, and I guarantee you when you're signing your lease to own somewhere else, they're not explaining this either because it's not very conducive to closing a sale. But it's very important. 75-25. I see you. 75-25. So 75% of your payment comes off the principal. 25% goes to get yacht fuel for the leasing company. And before you get all 75-25, have you checked out yacht fuel lately? And have you ever been on a yacht? So I imagine once you've been on a yacht, it's like the boat version of a drug and you become addicted. So, I mean, you can't just expect these people to not go on their yacht, okay? They have to. And so they need fuel. Fuel's expensive. Look it up. Look up boat yacht fuel, okay? Maybe he's got a helipad with a helicopter. I mean, guys, come on. All jokes aside, 75-25. So what that would mean, let's do an even amount, right? So if you had a $10,000 shed on the lot, it was $10,000 out the door, and you wanted to do the lease to own on that, you would have $12,500 in that shed when you were done. That's if you made every payment on time, you never made an overpayment, or you never paid it off early. So before we get too far into the terms, maybe I should talk about some of that. So this varies from leasing company to leasing company, and it's very important you speak with the shed salesman about these terms and make sure you see it in writing or you read it, not just hear it, because they could say whatever they want to close a deal. With the leasing company that is attached with our buildings, you get 90 days, same as cash. So if you pay it, and that's from the date of delivery, so if you pay it off within 90 days, you get it for that $10,000, you pay no fees. There's no penalty for paying over. So let's say that your payment is $280 and you're paying $350 a month. That additional $70 will come directly off the principal. And think about it, that additional $70 they're not getting 25% of. So you've just cut down that 12.5 number right away. And there's also no penalty for paying it off early. No penalty for overpayments, no penalty for paying it off early. You never owe more than that 10 grand. It's just not all the money comes off that 10 grand. So if you wanted to pay it off in a 2-year term after 8 months, boom, there you go. Now you want to look into that because some leasing companies may hold you to the contract you signed saying, no, you agreed to pay us 24 lease fees of 25%. So they may add that on. So you may think that you only owe $8,800 and you call to pay your building off and they say it's $13,900. And they say, no, you agreed to pay all those lease fees. That's called early termination fee, cancellation fee, things of that nature. There's none here. You owe $10,000, you'll never owe $10,000 and one penny. You will never owe more than the $10,000 here. It's just all the money that you pay doesn't come off that $10,000. So here's a 24-month term. And this, guys, just to bear with you on this, this is the most customer-friendly term. So it only gets worse from here. But we're going to start there. So buckle up. I wasn't prepared for this. Let me get some paper. All right, so now, now we're moving on to the 36-month term. If you weren't sitting down before, you better be now. You guys see how I got that call right in the video? You gotta come see us, guys. You don't get this anywhere else. Okay. What do you think it is, huh? I don't know if you can see it at this angle. Here, I'm going to give you a 5-second break amongst you or your family to take the over-under. Is it 50-50? What is it? 70-30? 60-40. Woo! That's right. 60% off of the principal, 40%. Now we're on the jet fuel. The yacht's already... This guy filled the yacht up. Now we're filling the jet up. And guys, these are pretty much industry standard. So basically these numbers are pretty close across any leasing company. They may vary by a few percentage, but there's not one that's going to be amazing out there. So boom, 60-40. So now that $10,000 shed, and you know what, we're going to write down that on here because we're just going to assume that you're making your 36 payments without paying over. We're going to write down how much the $10,000 shed costs on all these platforms. So this guy paid $12,500 for a shed. $2,500 went in the yacht. That's like a quarter of a tank. Come on, guys. You got to help these people out. This gentleman, or we'll say lady and gentleman, it's a family. They paid $14,000 for that $10,000 shed, and $4,000 went into this time he had to replace the spinny thing on the propeller, whatever you call it. Now this is over 3 years, so we're gonna keep going. So 60-40 is what it is on the 36 month. One thing to keep in mind, guys, is you don't have to do this program. So when we explain this to customers over all the years I've been doing this, there's been a few that's like, oh my God, that's a ripoff. And it's like, well, ma'am, then just give me a check, cash, or a card. Of course, she didn't have that option. So like we talked about earlier, when you're negotiating with somebody else's money, you cannot dictate the terms. Your best financial ability is to have the ability to pay for the shed yourself, because then you get to dictate those terms. Or go to a conventional bank, credit union. There are things like Green Sky, backyard financing. Those are 11 to 13%. This program is mainly to get you the shed right now and to either pay it off quick or in a timely manner. But obviously we all know it's mainly for people who have issues with their credit in the past and they can't qualify for a main loan. And unfortunately, when you have issues with your credit, the lender or the leaser in this case kind of dictates how they're going to give you the money. But again, like I stressed, there's never going to be a gun to your head no matter what lot you're at. If you don't like the terms, walk away. And if you actually get explained the terms, don't get mad at the salesman, because normally they don't even tell you. You sign it and then you're just like, wait, this doesn't work. 389 times 36. You start figuring the payments out and you're like, wait a minute. All right, we're going to 48 months. What do you guys think on this, huh? What do you guys think on this bad boy? Let me show you. 50-50. That's right. Not a coin toss. This time, the leasing company is going to take half of your payment for their yacht fuel, and the other half is going to come off the principal. So that $10,000 shed is now $20,000. That's right. We've gone from 24 to 36. Now we're at 48. Now keep in mind, this is only if you made every payment on time and you did not pay it off early or pay over. So yes, it is double. Yes, 50% is insane. And again, I agree. And like I say all the time, your best option is to purchase the shed in full or go to your local bank or credit union. If you, unfortunately, like we talked about in the beginning, if you don't have the money, then you can't dictate the terms in which you pay it back. The best thing to do at that point in time is walk away. So basically, if you intention is to just pay the minimum amount, I don't recommend using this program. Again, it's your money, it's your decision. We have had some people in the past who have bought in one and said, hey, I do small engine repair. I'm going to make a lot of money by using this shed to repair stuff, so I don't care that it's double because I'm going to be making money, and without it, I'm not. So in situations like that, I can completely understand. But at the end of the day, like I explained in full, the leasing company pays for the shed to the shed manufacturer or the shed dealer. So there is no benefit to the shed sales place, I guess you would say, the business, if you do lease to own versus cash. The same amount of money goes in our pocket. It's just whether or not you're going to fill up the helicopter, the jet, or the yacht. I mean, I'm obviously speculating here, you know. Maybe they're already full. Maybe you're helping them buy a new yacht. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about what you're comfortable with, and we're trying to be as transparent as possible so you do what's right for you and your financial situation. And if it is the payments and you are going to pay double and you're comfortable with that and it works out for your situation, great. I know I'm trashing the lease to own a lot in this video, but it does serve a good purpose for certain people. I'm just not a big fan of it, mainly because most companies don't explain it to you. So at the end of the day, 85% of the people who do this program have no idea how much they're actually paying for their shed. Now here's a nasty one, 60 months. What do you think this one is? Go ahead, we're going to take 5 seconds for you and your family to determine what this one is. You guys know, I actually got to use a calculator here, okay? This is, all right, here we go. Drum roll, please. 45.55, yep, that's right. Yep, more of your payment goes to a lease fee than goes to the principal. You're seeing it, it's correct. I hope you are sitting down. That's why I did this ad in a chair. So you will have $22,000 in that $10,000 shed. That is a slippery slope. Actually, it used to not be allowed in all states, I believe. Now it is. So yeah, and I know how outrageous it is to pay 12 grand to nothingness. Okay, that's why we're making this video. Because again, that 12 grand isn't going to me. You can tell by my faded undersized shirt. The fact that I need a haircut and a beard trim. I'm not the one collecting that lease money, the lease fees. I may be facilitating the deal, so I may have a little bit of devil in me. I may be going down to meet the guy down below over the lease owns I've done. But at least when I go to bed at night and I lay my head down, I know that I fully explained it to the customer and they made that decision with a clear mind and all the facts behind it. So one more time, 24 months is $75.25. So that $10,000 shed is $12,500. You see it down there? Boom. This is your best bet. If you're going to do it, do it. Yes, your payment's going to be a lot more, but that's because you're paying it off quick. But you're giving the least amount of your money to the man or woman or 2023, so whatever, I don't even know anymore. 36 months is 60/40. That $10,000 shed is going to be $14,000. Over 3 years, you're going to pay $4,000 in lease fees. All right, 48 months is 50/50. So that $10,000 shed is $20,000. You've paid double for it. Your payment will be less than 36 months because you're adding another year. But basically, you've bought in 2 of those sheds and only got 1. You put your money on black in Vegas and it hit red, and you went right back and put your money on black in Vegas and it hit red again. Then you did it again and you got half your money back. That's what happened. The house always has the advantage. And last but least favorite, 60 months. That 45/55, that $10,000 shed just cost you 22 grand. So, what have we learned today other than it's a slippery slope? What we've learned is that a lot of shed manufacturers, salespeople, dealers are dishonest. So, if you're going to do the lease to own, it's very important you make sure there is no penalty for paying it off early. No termination fee, no cancellation fee like AT&T back in the day. Because they may hold you. If you've signed 48-month agreement, they may say you owe us 48 lease payments of this much, and they may make you pay that. So when you only owe $8,000 on the shed, you may call and your payoff's $13,900. Okay, so you want to, if you are going to do this program, you want to do the shortest term you can financially afford, and don't ever stretch yourself out. If you end up giving the leasing company a couple extra grand, it's better than not being able to afford it and losing the shed. So number 1, make sure you can pay it off early. That's very key. Number 2, make sure there's overpayments are allowed. Make sure you can pay over what you owe, so any money you pay over that amount, they don't get a percentage of. And number 3, just make sure you're comfortable with that end number and ask for the end number. Say, what's the total amount I'm going to have in this shed? You could obviously, if your payment's $389 for 48 months, you could get a calculator out and do $389 times 48. But all of our lease contracts have that number in them. This is the total amount you will pay if you just pay as stated in the contract. So you have to keep that in mind, guys, because like I said, it is not a benefit to us which way you go. And I hate to say we prefer that you don't do lease to own. I kind of do in a way just because I don't like, people having to lose money. But at the same time, I don't mean that, because a lot of people do that program. They need it. They thrive on it. They get their building and life goes on. So we don't have a problem doing lease to own here. We just like to explain to you how it goes. So just remember, if you're going somewhere else, ask them the nitty gritty, get the down and dirty. It will be in writing somewhere in a contract, so just take a second, read it. We go over all our contracts with people, but I've never been in a position of buying a shed somewhere else. I don't know if they breeze you through, click here, click there, sign there, and you have no idea what's going on, and you're excited to get a new shed, maybe 0 down, maybe you didn't think you qualified. There is always some time behind that. And again, like I said in the beginning, and I'm not trying to be rude, to the people who come in and get very upset when they find this out, I don't understand how you would think you could come in and make payments on an item with no interest for just what it costs. Because we have had people come in and go, well, it's $10,000. So no, you don't get to just make payments on that $10,000 and give nothing to the person who paid the $10,000. So at the end of the day, just make sure you're knowledgeable on what you're doing. Make sure if you're going to do any kind of payments that you check with your local lending institution first. Hey, even if you've got some credit issues, maybe talk to them. You never know. There's backyard financing, Green Sky, other things you can look into. Just make sure you know your options before you go in. So don't ever go in somewhere spur of the moment and get caught in a lease to own unless you know what it is. So, but you know what? At the end of the day too, it's not fair for us to not, like I said, fill a yacht up. Once you've been on $1 million yacht, you can't not be on one. So it wouldn't be fair for us to take that feeding, that drug away from that high up guy. So we got to keep the yacht going. We got to keep it fueled. We just got to make sure we know that we are fueling the yacht and not just paying off our shed. So that'll be it for today in the classroom of shed 101. Oh my God, my desk is a mess. Don't look at my desk. There was a tornado because what happened was when the east winds and the west winds head north at the same time, wind can actually go through the brick while it's spun around. That's what happened. All right, I'm going to go out on the lot. No, I'm not. I'm saying I'm going to go out on the lot, but I'm really just going to not go out on the lot. But until I catch you guys next time from the land of shed sales, I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you learned more than you knew beforehand, so when you go to purchase your next shed, you're in a better spot. You may not be able to negotiate with the lease to own, but you can definitely manipulate it with a shorter term, with the smallest lease fee, and overpay on it. So as we look at the color wall, I will end the video the same way I always do. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will probably catch you on the next one.